questions coming in, which is fantastic. Yes, the webinar is being recorded, will be live, will be available for review later on, and the presentations and the CDs of the speakers will also be available on our website. The website is at the bottom there. You'll see that on all my slides, and we'll send it around as well following the webinar. Well, let's get started. I know you did not dial in to just hear me speak. So our first speaker, Ms. Silke Ditgen, as I said, the Trade Commissioner Assistant at the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service. She will give us a quick overview of what the Trade Commissioner Service can do for you. And I will hand over the rights to Silke at this point. Silke, coming your way. And you should be able to hit the button that says view my screen. There we go, perfect. We see it. Silke, I don't hear you, unfortunately. You might still have your phone on mute. Silke. Silke, we see your screen, but I do not hear you, unfortunately. Silke, if you could please check your mute setting on your phone. I'm sorry, we don't hear you. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take the rights right back. See if we can, obviously, having a little bit of technical difficulties. Florian and Verena, are you guys ready by any chance?
Yes, we are. Silke just wrote in the chat that her phone gave up, whatever that means, probably the battery.
Okay, no, yeah, oh, okay. Well, then in that case, by the time she finds a charger and gets it up and running, I think at this point, sorry, Silke, if you can hear me, although no, she probably can't hear me. We're going to turn it over to you guys, all right, Florian and Verena at the German Cannabis Association, at the Deutsche Handverband. Hello, hi, Silke.
I'm sorry. The phone line. I don't know what happened, but I got out of it, so I'm back in.
Okay, all right.
Sorry for that.
No problem. Then we're going to go ahead and turn it over back to you, Silke, if you're ready to go.
All right. It's very, very short. I mean, I just wanted to welcome everybody, especially, of course, from Canada, our clients in Canada. I am very pleased and I'm very excited about this webinar, which we have organized together with our partners, Germany Trade and Invest, and the German Cannabis Association. And I would like to thank our partners as well for their efforts to make this possible and make this happen. Now very shortly to what we are doing here. We are the Trade Commissioner Service of the Federal Government of Canada. We support Canadian companies to enter the German or, of course, the European market. And on this little slide, you see our 4 key services. So I don't have to say that, you can read that on your own. Just to make this very short, this is about it. We are happy to support the Canadian companies taking part in this webinar. And yeah, very excited about what comes out of it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Silke. All right, I will at this point take the rights back and we will just introduce obviously Mr. Florian Rister and Ms. Verena Aßmann, who are sitting at the same computer, I believe. And I will hand over the rights to you guys so you can take it from here. Thank you, Silke.
Yes, thank you. That is correct. We are at the same computer. So we are going to talk a little bit longer. I hope I don't bore all our listeners, but I think some of the stuff we are telling might be interesting for those. My name is Florian Rister from Deutsche Handverband, German Cannabis Association. We are the biggest association for legalization of cannabis in Germany, as well as the biggest industry group for the cannabis industry here in Germany. We have 2,200 private members, 180 corporate sponsors. We get approximately 150 annual press mentions where we are being mentioned or interviewed. We have 15 local chapters in several cities in Germany and 9 employees that we pay to work here in our office in Berlin. Deutscher Handverband has been founded in 2002 solely as industry group and is open for private members since 2006. One of our biggest, or first big successes was in 2011 when Angela Merkel made a YouTube challenge where people could vote what topic was most important for them. And we made the first place then, and so she made a video about her position to cannabis, which was the first public announcement she made for this topic. So that was pretty successful and gained a lot of responses by people. The video got about 500,000 views. And one year later, she made another online dialogue in 2012, where we again made second place with our question concerning legalization of cannabis. And as follow-up, our CEO, Georg Wurth, met with Angela Merkel in the Chancellor's office, and they discussed the general legalization of cannabis, but especially the medical cannabis part, because she signalized that this is really interesting to her. And yeah, in the follow-up 1 year later, she met with a couple of physicians and doctors. For example, Dr. Fanny Grotenherm, who is a really famous cannabis doctor here in Germany. And she let herself explain the situation for medical cannabis patients, and that was probably one of the first times that she really got deep into this topic of medical cannabis. In 2014, the Deutscher Handverband won €1 million. That was a pretty successful moment for us, and it changed the whole Verband, I would say. It changed our whole situation because we were able to get a lot more employees and to get a lot more activities done. For example, a couple of months later, we published the first commercials for legalization of cannabis in Germany. They have been aired in approximately 300 German cinemas. And the most successful one of these commercial spots was the one for medical cannabis, which gained the most clicks on YouTube and the most reviews. So we have done a lot other stuff for medical cannabis. For example, the Deutscher Handverband supported a petition of the Arbeitsgemeinschaft Cannabis als Medizin, which is one of the biggest organizations concerning medical cannabis here in Germany. And they gained about 35,000 signatures for this petition to the Bundestag, with a lot of pressure to the politicians to do something about medical cannabis. As well as we from Deutscher Handverband and ACM, Arbeitsgemeinschaft Cannabis als Medizin, supported patients which were suing for their right to grow. That also created an enormous pressure on the government to change the system because people were not able to afford their cannabis from the pharmacies. So yeah, the right to grow was in the discussion, and a lot of judges said yes, patients shall get their right to grow, and the government said no, we don't want this. So that's one of the reasons why we are seeing at the moment that the government is going to pay cannabis by the health insurance. In 2016, our CEO Georg Wurth was present at the Bundestag hearing for the new law, and he set our position and explained to politicians what they should change. For example, the driving license problem and some other problems he announced there that should be discussed. And in March 10th, 2017, as all of you followers and listeners out there know, the new law got into power, and we have a new situation now in Germany. Cannabis as medicine is regular. Cannabis as medicine is now a regular prescription drug, and it can be sold through the pharmacies. Actually, it has been sold through the pharmacies before. About 1,000 people had a license for medical cannabis until March 10th, but this was a really special license given out by the state, as my German followers know. And now, since the new law has been in place, it's much easier for physicians to prescribe cannabis, as they can put it on a regular narcotics receipt, which they use, for example, for all kinds of opiates or other prescription drugs. So most doctors in Germany are able to prescribe cannabis now, as long as they are able to write a regular narcotics receipt that accepts primarily vets and dentists. As I already said, the health insurance shall cover the costs in case of serious disease if all regular prescription drugs have failed. And the medical cannabis in Germany is sold through regular pharmacies, not through dispensaries or any special system. It's not being sent via mail or anything like that, like we see in other countries. it's being sold through the regular pharmaceutical system like any other prescription drug. Prices have been rising up to 30 euro per gram since the new law has got into place. Before, the prices were between 12 and 20 euro depending on the pharmacy that you go to. But now the prices have gone up a lot, and that is one of the worst points of the new law that we are addressing to the politics to change, because those patients that do not get their costs covered by the health insurance, they cannot afford this obviously, and they will tend to the black market or to self-cultivation in the future. So that is a problem that the government should address. So are we looking into a green rush in Germany? Most people say yes. Most experts say yes. The number of patients is rising enormously at the moment, thanks to the fact that more and more doctors are being publicly available, more and more doctors prescribe cannabis, and hundreds of patients have already gotten their costs covered by health insurance. There is no definite number. We don't know any definite number at the moment. But we get a lot of feedback from patients and groups, and we hear that many people have their health insurance, and many other patients are suing their insurance companies, and they are looking positively into these judge cases. So we are looking into a growing number of patients getting cannabis on a private receipt or even paid by the health insurance. At the moment, cannabis in Germany is imported from the Netherlands since 2008. Since the first patients had gotten medical cannabis from the pharmacy, it was imported from the Netherlands, from the company Bütow via the importers Fagron and Pedanios. Since the last year, since 2016, also import from Canada was possible. The companies Tweed and Peace Naturals exported cannabis through the importers Medcan and Pedanios. And in 2016, about 170 kilograms of cannabis were imported and sold in Germany. That is not much. The Canadian listeners know this, but it's a start, and it's a situation where the patients mostly were not able to afford the cannabis from the pharmacies. As I said, the prices were between 12 and 20 euro a gram. So many patients decided to use the black market or to grow cannabis themselves. We are quite sure that in the future this will change, especially due to the fact that many patients are getting their cannabis paid by the health insurance. Yeah, the production in Germany is now starting.
We will check the criteria, which is important to be able to apply for the tender. We check the delivery dates and quantities and the criteria in the tender itself. And there were also some questions and answers from applicants to the BfArM, where I will say something about that. So the order contains cultivation, processing, storage, and packaging of medical cannabis. It is possible to apply for all 10 tickets in the tender. There are 10 tickets, but it's possible to get 7 tickets max. Each ticket promises about 200 kilos of medical cannabis a year. The application criteria is split up in reference A and reference B. Reference A is the former order approval about cultivation, processing, storage, and packaging of medical marijuana, at least 50 kilos in the last 3 years. Or reference B is about the former order approval about cultivation, processing, storage, and packaging of medical plants, so without cannabis, but also 50 kilos in the last 3 years. The delivery quantities become essential if more than 10 applicants reach 60 points. Okay, so the delivery dates and quantities you can see are between 2019 and 2022. The total quantity in 2019 will be 1,000 kilogram, and in 2022 it will double to 2,000 kilogram. The different quantity of the types you can see on the right, and the type specification is as follows. Type 1 cannabis has a THC level between 18 to 22% and a CBD level below 1%. Type 2 cannabis has a THC level between 12 to 16% and a CBD level below 1%. And type 3 cannabis has a THC and CBD level between 5 to 9%. If the applicant reaches the next phase, that means he is allowed to apply for the tender itself. The following criteria determines the success. Of course, it's the price, but also the quality of the technical facilities or the concept regarding cultivation, processing, storage, and packaging, as well as the concepts regarding production cycles and staff training, but also the security concept. Each of those criteria promises also points. What else is needed? We have economic and financial performance is really important, as well as technical and professional performance. And there are other necessities, for example, a permission person to the law, BTMG, which is the German narcotics law, and a permission person to the law AMG, which is the German pharmaceutical law. As I already said, it's possible to get in touch with the tender administration via the e-platform, so the applicants can ask questions there and usually get also an answer. So far, almost 80 questions have been asked there, and I've collected those questions, and if you are interested, I can give you the summarized information later. You can contact me for this. For now, I will give the microphone back to my colleague Florian, who will tell you more about the problems and the criticism about the tender.
Thank you, Verena. I hope you guys are still listening. I know it's a lot of input, but yeah, I try to make it short. We have been, maybe Omar, can you mute some people here, because we have some feedback sounds here. That's a little bit.
I cannot mute anybody who's not part of the webinar. I mean, it's background. I mean, it could be in the background of your office, or again, I encourage. Oh, okay. Well, of course, the other speakers should be muted as well.
Yeah. If Katrin and Silke maybe mute their mic, that would be nice.
Thank you for the reminder.
Okay. Since the government has announced their plans that they will legalize commercial cannabis cultivation in Germany since 2015, we at Deutscher Handverband have gotten a lot of calls and emails and people asking us, how is this going to be? Am I going to be someone who is able to do that? How can I get a license? And at least 2 or 3 dozens of companies have claimed severe and serious interest in gaining such a license for medical cannabis cultivation. So on April 8th, when the tender was released, there was a huge disappointment. A lot of these companies, and also a little bit with us, because yeah, which German company has ever produced 50 kilograms of legal medical cannabis before? It's hard to find one, and yeah, that created a little bit of bad feelings. And it created obviously the situation that German companies do not have the chance to get into this market alone. Why would Canada be a possible country for joint venture partnerships for German companies? Most other countries in the world that have medical cannabis do not fulfill international treaties. For example, the USA is the most well-known example. They sell a lot of cannabis in several states, but none of them do it via a national cannabis agency, like my colleague Verena just explained. and so they do not fulfill international treaties, so they do not, they are not possible to be used as a partner for fulfilling the reference of the BEFA. Only in Europe, only one company in the Netherlands, one in Austria and one in Czech Republic is active. They are all fulfilling the international treaties and they do act through a national cannabis agency, but there's only one company in each country, and in Austria and in Czech Republic these companies are a little bit hard to contact, I would say. Also in South America and in Australia we see some countries evolving a medical marijuana system, but they are all pretty young. There are no companies there that have been acting more than 3 years now, so these also are not possible partners for German companies. Canada has the biggest fully legal medical cannabis industry in the world. We see billions of dollars being made there with cannabis. We see huge warehouses, we see a lot of know-how, we see more than 20 medical marijuana producers, licensed producers. We see businesses on the stock market. So that's a pretty good situation to create joint ventures. That's a pretty good situation to create a global cannabis industry. Why shouldn't a Canadian company alone get active in Germany? In general, it's possible to be part in the tender as a Canadian company. You don't need a German partner for that. In general, you must have a business location here. So you must have some own branch or subsidiary here to be part of the EU tender. But Canadian companies could create this alone. There is a couple of barriers that make it hard for Canadian companies to take part in this. That's, for example, language. As you can hear in my English, most German people don't speak perfect English. Most of them do speak English, but not perfectly. And most Canadians do not speak German, so it's always good to speak the language of the country where you are getting active. The juridical experience in the country is pretty important, as Germany is a really strict country with a couple of laws concerning all kinds of topics. So it makes sense to have somebody who knows the law here in Germany, not only around cannabis, but also around all kinds of other topics. Yeah, and obviously human resources, personal relationships, all these kinds of topics create barriers for Canadian companies that want to be active alone. So it makes sense to create joint ventures. It makes sense to bring Canadian and German companies together. So I'm really pleased and happy to do this today and to give you all the chance. Please use the possibility in the chat on the side to type in your offers, type in your requests, type in whatever you want, what you need. So we can have that in the discussion now. And yeah, all of you who say, hey, well, it's only 3 weeks, the current tender is running out on June 6th. I tell you, look into the future. I know the time is short now, and some people may not see a chance to get a chance in the current tender, but you can already plan for the next tender. 2,000 kilogram, which my colleague Verena just explained, are going to be announced in the tender, are not enough to fulfill the German demand in the future. We see a lot of patients getting their cannabis paid by the health insurance, so 2,000 kilograms is really not much. I know, for example, one patient personally who gets 1.2 kilograms a year paid by the health insurance. So that is, yeah, it's not going to work out for a long time. And also, Germany is in some way a leading country in Europe, so some EU countries will possibly follow the German law in the next years. So the international demand will be rising for medical cannabis. Other countries will be in the need to import medical cannabis. So that also creates a demand, and yeah, there will definitely be another tender in Germany, at the latest in 2022, but possibly already before if the demand is not fulfilled. So please guys, get active if you want to get into this so interesting and so fascinating market. Do your best, and let's work together, let's get something done, let's create a global cannabis industry. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Florian. Thank you, Verena. If you don't mind just leaving that slide up just for a second, so in case folks want to take down your email address and your contact information. I actually have a quick question for you, Florian. Direct question regarding one of your second to last slide. It's what are the international treaties? It was a bullet point just 2 slides ago. Just mentioning what are the international treaties, if you don't mind.
The International Narcotics Control. International Narcotics Control. How is it called in English? Kontrollabkommen. It's in German.
Treaty. I mean, Abkommen is a treaty. The International Narcotics Treaty, I guess. Probably how it's termed. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right.
It's UN Drogenkontrollabkommen in German.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, Florian. And thank you, Verena. At this point, I will take this back. There's the picture again. And last but not least, we'll get to Dr. Sandra Bütow, our Senior Manager of the Healthcare Team at Germany Trade Invest in our Berlin headquarters. And she will tell you a little bit about the survey and how to find partners for this field. All right, 1 second. Sandra, here we go. Right, coming your way. We look forward to your presentation.
That's fine. So let me do the full screen and then I will welcome you all. Okay, hello everybody. Thank you, Omar, for the introduction. And yeah, we heard a lot of the new law in Germany, and we had a lot of discussions with our partners, the German Handverband and also the Canadian Consulate, what we can do for the companies that are interested in participating in the tender. And we ask ourselves, so what's the most challenge to participate and be successful in the tender? And we recognize the things that Florian already mentioned, that there are some hurdles for the Canadian companies, like the language. So you all know the tender is only in German available. And there are also some hurdles for German companies, and we decided to try to find partners for both sides. So we set up a kind of survey. So we had a link for the Canadian companies and also a link for the German companies, and they could define their needs and what they can offer to the others. And I would like to give you a short overview on the things we get so far in this survey, and I would also encourage you, if you're not be part of the coverage so far, so fill out the form, and so we will try to find also partners for you. So first of all, we had 5 Canadian companies that participate in our survey. All 5 plan to participate in the tender, and also they are interested in exporting cannabis so far as the plans are not give some cannabis. 2 of them already have some German partners, and one of the companies who filled out our form have a German subsidiary. And you know this is necessary if you would like to be part of the tender, part of the cannabis industry in Germany. All 5 companies that fill out our form are licensed producers with amounts bigger than 50 kilograms per year. 2 of them also in addition have a license for extraction of ingredients out of the cannabis. We also asked about the certification because this is also part of the tender, and in this case it was possible to click more than one question, and 4 of the companies that take part have a GPP certification and 2 have an ISO certification. Only 1 GMP, GAP and GACP certification. So you see there's something we can do for you, and maybe also partnering, so partners can maybe help you to get further in this certification matters. If we have a look on the German companies, we had 13 companies answering our survey. All 13 plan to participate in any way in the tender. All 13 also searching for partners, and 7 of them offering some services also for the partners. So what can they offer? What know-how do they have? 11 companies have click the financing button, so they experience in financing things. 10 of them are experienced in tender procedure in Germany. 7 of them in the analysis of natural products. Another 7 in drug production or logistic things. We have 6 companies that are experienced in farming. We have some companies that are also experienced in the narcotic drug law, so Betäubungsmittel it's called in Germany, and some of them are also in quality management and consulting certification. So you can see we can fill the gap if the companies maybe work together regarding the certification, but also the cannabis cultivation, drug production, and logistic in Germany is a special thing, and in the end also the tender process. What we will do, another thing, we have an info sheet for everyone who's interested in a little bit more information about the medical cannabis in Germany. It's possible to have this as a free download in the end of our presentation. You can have it in the click box on the right side of the screen. Please feel free to download. And we will also have the links to the surveys. So, be aware there are 1 survey in English language for the international companies and another one in German for the German-based companies. What we now will do to connect you all is if you click the box that you agree to put your information in a list and send it as a list to potential partners. This would be the most easiest way to connect you all, because this list is sent to potential partners in Germany or Canada, and you can directly get in contact. You can see what the companies offer, what know-how do they have, and how can you help them, and how can they help you. So this is something we'll do as far as possible, as soon as possible. So hopefully till the end of the week we will have the list. So hurry up a little bit, fill out the form, and we will help you. So what we also do, and I think Florian pointed out this, you need a legal entity as Canadian or international company in Germany. You need a legal entity to be part of the cannabis industry, and this is a service we can provide to you. We can help you with the production funding, R&D, partnering, sales. This is everything we can help you. We support you in this, and if you need any help on this, how to set up a legal entity, we will help you, and we would be happy if you get in contact with us. So call us if you need anything, get in contact with us. We are happy to help you. If it is easier for you because of the time zone, you can also contact Omar in Washington, D.C., or myself based in Berlin. Yeah, so these are my contact details, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra. I will leave the slide up just for a second. Again, your email is there, sandra.bütow@gtai.com.
That's right.
Thank you for your presentation and for the overview of the results. All right. At this point, we already have a couple of questions, and that's fantastic. Thank you for being active participants. And again, now is really your chance. You can keep shooting questions. We have a few. I'm going to get started. Here's again an overview of everyone that spoke. Thank you to all our speakers. I have a couple of questions and specifics really for Silke. 2 or 3 folks have asked. I've had Alberto. I've had Stephen. They want to know what the best way is to find Canadian partners. Can I turn that over to you, Silke?
It is so nice of you, Omar. Thank you. Well, the best way to find Canadian companies who would like either to participate still in the tender, which is quite a tight timeline to do, but well, you can try your very best. I mean, nothing is impossible. That would definitely be either to go through us, the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service, which is based in Germany, in Berlin, in Düsseldorf, and in Munich. But for the life sciences sector, it is based in Düsseldorf. So that's me and my colleague Monica. who is not here today. But anyway, so that would be the best way, and we can then find out if there are companies who are still interested in this kind of cooperation. The other way, well, that would be the first thing to do probably, or we do it right now, or even, I mean, at the end of the week. So you fill out the German questionnaire then, and we would connect you to a good Canadian partner. That would also be an option. Would that answer the question, do you think?
Absolutely. And again, if you know, an email address is needed, you can touch base with either one of us. I don't have your email at the moment, Silke, but again, you can contact us, follow up in any way. We will connect you with Silke as well. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it was on my little slide at the beginning of the webinar, but well, it doesn't make any sense, you know, to say it now. So it's on the slide. We can give that to you after the webinar.
That's right. Thank you, Silke. There was also a clarification regarding the international treaty. Thank you to Dirk. It was the UN Convention of Narcotic Drugs, 1961 Geneva, just an FYI. We have another question here. It's really for Germany Trade Invest. I'll probably turn it over to Sandra. Next question, how can I get registered in Germany? Thank you, Ditgen, for that question. What's the best way?
Yeah, Sandra? So that's really a question for us. So there are different options if you would like to set up any operations in Germany. There are possibilities like to set up a legal entity like GmbH. It's similar to the limited you're maybe familiar with. We have also other options. You can have also a dependent branch office or independent branch offices. So we provide a lot of information about the procedure, how to set up, which kind of legal entity would be the best for me, and all this stuff. So I would recommend to get in touch with me if you need any information on this, and I will send you our publications on this. Also, you can have a first look on the webpage. There can also find my contact details and a lot of information on setup business.
Thank you, Sandra. A quick question, where is GTAI based in Berlin, Sandra? Thank you, Alberto, for that question.
Directly in the city center. It's at the underground station Stadtmitte. It's Friedrichstraße, Ecke Leipziger. So if one of you are in Germany and in Berlin, please feel free to contact us, and we will have a meeting, and we tell you a little bit how to set up in Germany.
And also another way to find it is obviously gtai.com, our website, or the handout, which is now available, I see, on the toolbar. If you download that, the headquarter information is located and listed there as well. I have a question here from Melinda. We are a licensed producer in Canada and have been approached by many German companies. How do we find the best partnership with a German company? Perhaps another question for Silke.
Well, that's a very good question, obviously, and that's probably the challenge every company has to go through, looking for a partner abroad. But that's what we are here for, right? That's what I said. I mean, also Germany Trade and Invest, we can do that together. Well, the thing is, there are, of course, some privacy kind of restrictions on that, but I guess, of course, if you, as a Canadian company, tell us which German company approached you, of course, we can find out if it's a reliable partner, and if that German company is able to fulfill the partnership with you. I guess that's definitely possible. And as I said, that's our main that's part of our job, and of course, we'd love to do that.
Thank you, Silke. Any other questions from the audience? I don't see any at the moment. Again, I just want to reiterate, you can touch base with, I'm going to put up my contact information as well, just so you have that as well, in case you missed someone else's email. We can connect you with anyone. The webinar is recorded, and the presentations as well, the CVs, will be up on that URL up there, gtai.com/succeed in German healthcare. And we have another question here. Wonderful. Thank you, Florian. Are there any rough numbers for such a partnership? If you could maybe specify in the meaning of shares and money. Thank you for clarifying. Are there any rough numbers on shares or money for such partnerships? Kind of an open question. Anyone want to take a stab at it?
I'm sorry, I don't have any information on this. So from the survey or questionnaire, we could see that already two companies, Canadian companies, do have a partnership with German companies, but we don't know which, what they do together. So I'm sorry.
They're not required to disclose the shares of the money of the investment, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true.
But we could try to find that information for you as well. Later, maybe another minute or so, see if there's any other questions that come up.
Well, if you allow me, Omar, maybe I can step in. This is Silke again from the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service. I would like to address the Canadian companies and to tell them that we would be the first point of contact for whatever you want to do in Germany. I mean, of course, you guys as well from Germany Trade and Invest, but of course for a Canadian company, they would probably rather go to a Canadian government agency than to a German one. So, of course, our services kind of are the same in a special way, kind of. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out that you know, no matter what you want to do here in Germany, please contact us. We can give you all the information, all the advice you would need. I just wanted to point that out one more time. Thank you.
Absolutely. An excellent partner, and yes, it makes sense, of course, for the Canadian companies to first go via their consulate and their commercial service. Absolutely. Oh, here's another question. Does that happen then? I'm sorry, let me see if that connects to something. Whoa, slow down, Mr. Florian. 1 second, all right. How does such a partnership happen, actually? As the experience has to be the experience has to be lended from the Canadian company. Does it happen through a contract where somebody comes by and gets training? Those are multiple questions, so and I think we may have to, we'll connect with you probably after the webinar to answer some of those more specific questions. Oh, here's another question from Marcus. Could you name the 5 Canadian companies already? Is that possible?
Okay, I think this is a question for me. So at the moment, I will not disclose the name of the companies. So we have a disclaimer in the questionnaire, and for the companies who fill out the questionnaire, we will send any information we have. We will send them information we have. So if you're interested in the information, so fill out also the questionnaire, and then I think it's possible also to disclose the company names that agree to the disclaimer.
Thank you, Sandra. Here is another question from Martin. We are a company that produces medical plants in Germany. We're looking for a Canadian company that is interested in a partnership with us in order to reach the maximum amount of points in the first round of a tender. How can they get access to such a Canadian company?
Well, I guess this question goes to me, right? Yeah, well, of course, this is part of our webinar here to put those guys together. So we have obviously 5 Canadian companies who are interested in partnering with a German company, and we will see if this German company would fit to any of those 5 Canadians. That's what I would do.
Great, thank you, Silke. All right. Well, I hope we've answered most of the questions. Again, I think really the key is download the handout, write down everyone's contact information, Canadian companies, definitely touch base with Silke Ditgen and your commercial service based in Düsseldorf. Thank you to Florian and to Verena at the German Cannabis Association for highlighting the tender and what has been happening. I know you've been working very hard for the last couple of years to finally get to this point, so congratulations. And thank you as well to Sandra for the results of the survey. If you need any other information, again, please touch base with any of us. Thank you for joining us, and I wish everyone a wonderful day.
I add one word?
Sure.
The members, corporate sponsors of Deutscher Handverband, I can say we are going to do a Google video conference in the next week, possibly on German, where we can discuss these kinds of topics further and deeply, and yeah, have more time for that.
Thank you, Florian. And anyone else? Any last comments? Well, thank you again. Vielen Dank in die Runde. Go ahead, Sandra.
Oh, fine. Thank you for take part. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening, and thanks for joining us, and thanks to the partners again for making this happen. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Auf Wiedersehen and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.